I leaned back against the headboard of the hospital bed, my eyes fixed on the large window. Outside, the city was beginning to light up, high-rise windows glowing one after another. But in this room, only the cold, white light from the ceiling lamp remained. The IV machine beeped steadily like a familiar tune of the hospital, a sound so constant it had numbed me. I reached out and gently brushed away a few fallen hairs scattered on the pillow. It's been 3 months since Hope said she would come back. That day, she smiled and told me she'd bring an apple pie she baked herself, using the best apples from the farmer's market. I still remember so clearly the way she spoke, the gleam in her eyes when she mentioned that pie. But today, that pie has become nothing more than a brittle memory in my mind. I looked down at my hands. The skin was wrinkled and thin, so frail that every blue vein showed clearly beneath the surface. Bruises from the IV needles covered my wrist. I tried to lean over and reach for the photo of us taken on high school graduation day. We were both smiling, dressed in white, our hair gently flowing. Looking at that image, something inside me quietly sank. I whispered to myself, "She has her own family now, a new life in Texas. I should be happy for her. But why does this emptiness stay with me? In this unfamiliar place, I feel so alone, Hope. I miss you." I placed the photo back on the table, leaned my head against the pillow, and closed my eyes. In my mind, the sound of footsteps and car horns from the street played like a distant melody reminding me that life was still moving on, even as I remained behind. The door opened quietly. The rubber soles of the nurse's shoes echoed on the floor. Emily, my head nurse, walked in with a gentle smile. She set the medicine bag on the table and came closer to the bed. "Grace, how are you feeling today?" Her voice was soft, familiar enough to bring a small sense of ease to my chest. I gently shook my head and tried to smile. "I'm okay. Just a little tired. I couldn't eat anything today. Has anyone called to ask about me?" Emily paused. I saw her eyes drop slightly. "Not yet, sweetheart. But I believe your sister Hope will come soon. You're twins, after all. Who could ever forget a sweet little sister like you?" I lowered my head, pressing my lips together to hold back a sigh. Maybe she just said that to comfort me. But I still wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe that somewhere, Hope still remembered me, still thought of the sister who was fighting each day through illness. At that moment, a soft knock echoed at the door. The sound was faint, but it made my heart tighten. I sat up quickly, eyes wide, my voice trembling. "Come in!" I stared at the door, heart pounding, caught between fear and hope. I was waiting for the moment I had longed for during the past 3 months. The door opened, and I held my breath. At first, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me, because the person standing there looked nothing like the Hope I remembered. Her face was hollow, her lips were cracked, and her skin so pale it was almost translucent under the fluorescent light. I had expected a bright smile and the warm voice of the sister I once knew, but instead, I heard only a weak breath and saw a strained smile trying to hide her exhaustion. I froze, a wave of worry rising in my chest. "What happened to you? Why do you look so thin and sickly? You don't look well at all." I tried to get out of bed, but my legs trembled from weakness. In that moment, all I wanted was to step closer and touch her, to make sure she was really standing there. Hope gently shook her head, her smile twisted and clearly forced. "It's nothing. I just had a mild cold lately, feeling a bit tired." "You're here all alone like this. Does it hurt much?" Her voice was hoarse, and I could tell right away something was wrong. She quickly walked toward me, but as she passed the chair, her heel caught. Her purse dropped to the floor, pulling her hoodie sleeve upward. The white overhead light revealed a long bruise on her wrist, dark purple fading into yellow patches. I went numb. My eyes widened, and the words escaped before I could stop them. "Your hand! What happened to your hand?" My question startled her. Instantly, she pulled her sleeve down, almost reflexively. I saw her hand trembling. "Oh no, I just fell off my bike. I was reversing in a parking lot and hit a pole. The car door slammed into my arm." She spoke fast, her voice nervous and oddly unnatural. I stared at her for a long time. Ever since we were little, I had never seen her lie so awkwardly. My heart thudded harder. A growing unease filled my chest. "A bike accident? Hope, I know you. You've never been able to lie. Just one bruise? From a car door? And why are you wearing such a thick hoodie in this heat? Take it off and show me." She stepped back, both hands gripping the collar of her hoodie tightly. "Don't, Grace, don't do that." Her eyes filled with fear, as if I had touched something she didn't want anyone to see. I stepped forward, my voice trembling, not just from anger, but from fear that what I was thinking might be true. "Let me see. Right now. What are you hiding from me, Hope?" We both fell silent. Only the IV machine continued its steady beeping beside the bed. In that moment, I realized something far more terrible was hidden behind my sister's eyes. I didn't expect that the moment my hand touched the collar of her hoodie, the fabric suddenly slipped down. In that instant, both of us froze. My eyes locked onto what had just been revealed. Her entire arm and part of her back were covered in bruises. Some had already turned a pale yellow, showing they were old. Others were still deep purple, swollen. I even saw circular marks, like someone had grabbed her so hard the skin turned blue. A few long streaks looked like they had been lashed with a belt over and over. My heart pounded violently, then skipped a beat. My mouth opened, but no sound came out at first. Finally, I managed to whisper, as if gathering every ounce of strength just to speak. "Oh my God." I looked up at her, straight into her eyes. A wave of fury rose inside me like I had never felt before. Who did this to you? It was David, wasn't it? He's the one who hit you, right?" My stare was burning, but she stood motionless. Her hands slowly dropped, and then, as if she couldn't hold herself together any longer, she collapsed to the cold floor. I saw her cover her face, her whole body trembling. Then came the sobs, bursting from deep inside her chest, choking and desperate. "I can't take it anymore. I have no other way out. He didn't just hit me." She looked up. Her eyes were swollen and red. Her voice trembled, broken. "Yesterday, just because Lucas spilled his milk on the table." David grabbed the cup and threw the hot milk straight at the child's face. Then he slapped him. It was so hard, the boy fell off the chair, his head hitting the wooden floor. "He's only 4 years old, Grace. He's his own son." I sat there stunned. My heart felt like it was being crushed. Hope went on. And it wasn't just him. Margaret was standing right there. She laughed, a cold, soulless laugh. She said, "Teach him a lesson for wasting food. A boy needs to be raised with discipline." She clenched her fists. His sister, Sophia. She even pulled out her phone and recorded it, laughing like it was some kind of entertainment, saying it was good to train him early so he wouldn't turn bad later. I couldn't say anything. I could only sit there, watching her shake, gasping for breath between tears. She ran to hold her son, begged them to stop. But David grabbed her hair, forced her face to the ground. made her lick the spilled milk off the floor. He said, "If you spoiled him, you'll pay for it." Then Margaret took her cane. She hit Hope on the back, said she needed to teach her daughter-in-law her place. Sophia stuffed a filthy kitchen rag into her mouth, told her to shut up. I couldn't bear it anymore. I jumped out of bed, even though my body was still weak. My whole body shook. My fists clenched so tight my nails cut into my palms. Hope looked up at me. Her voice cracked like shattering glass. Their whole family, all three of them, they're monsters. They won't let me or my son live. I have nowhere to run. No money, no papers, no one to turn to. I have to stay alive for my son. But I'm scared. I'm scared that one day, either he or I will die in their hands. I looked at her. In her eyes, there was nothing left but despair. The surrender of someone who had run out of every escape. And in that moment, I was no longer a patient lying in a hospital bed. The weakness and helplessness inside me were swept away by a fury I had never known. A primal strength surged from deep within my chest. I stepped forward, leaned down, and lifted her face. I looked straight into the eyes that mirrored mine. But in her gaze, there was only a bottomless void. "Listen to me. From now on, you won't have to go back there again." I took a deep breath, trying to steady my voice. "We'll switch places. You'll stay here, where it's safe. You'll reach out to people who can help you. Women's support organizations, lawyers, anyone. I'll go out there. I'll become you." I paused. My throat tightened, but I kept speaking, one word at a time, slow and clear. "I'll walk into that hell for you, and I swear, I'll make those monsters pay. David, Margaret, Sophia, every single one of them. I'll make them taste blood and tears, and they will remember it for the rest of their lives." She looked at me, unblinking. And in that moment, I saw her expression shift. From despair to disbelief, then slowly into hope. And I knew I had just given her a reason to live on. A few hours later, the door to that house creaked open in front of me, still making that familiar rusty sound. I stepped inside, doing my best to carry the same frail and defeated look my sister had worn. I couldn't let it show. I had to be Hope. Curled up in the corner by the wall, little Lucas was sitting quietly. As soon as I entered, he looked up. His wide eyes were filled with fear. I heard him whisper, "Mom." I nodded, slowly walking toward him, keeping my voice soft and gentle. "Yes, Mommy's home." I knelt and patted his head, hiding the pity in my eyes. I knew he was terrified, but I also knew he realized I wasn't his mother. And still, the boy said nothing. He understood. We were allies now. From the kitchen, heavy footsteps echoed. Margaret appeared, holding a wooden spoon, her face scowling. "Where the hell have you been all morning? This house is a mess, and you just disappear like that?" I lowered my head, took a deep breath to make sure I didn't slip. My voice blurred with fake exhaustion. "I went to the clinic. I haven't been feeling well lately." She squinted at me from head to toe. Her stare was filled with disgust and contempt, but not a trace of real concern. Sick my ass, always making excuses. "Go make dinner, now." I nodded without arguing, quietly heading toward the kitchen. But as I passed the living room, I glanced around. The house was still the same. Cold, messy, stale, a place unworthy of being called home. I walked into the kitchen, quietly opened the fridge, and started forming a list in my head. The first dish would be meatloaf. The next morning, I woke up early. Even though my body was drained from the night before, I didn't let myself rest. I tied my hair neatly, put on an apron, and began preparing a special breakfast. When Margaret and Sophia finally dragged themselves out of their rooms, everything was already set on the kitchen table. A large, perfectly shaped meatloaf, golden brown and delicious looking. I had carefully sliced 2 thick, even pieces for their plates. Mine and Lucas's were smaller, simpler. I looked up and smiled brightly. My voice tried to sound sweet. Mother. Sophia. I got up early and made meatloaf for everyone. I know you like strong flavors, so I added lots of tomato sauce and spices. Margaret narrowed her eyes. I could tell she was suspicious, but when she saw how nice the loaf looked, she gave a short grunt. At least you're thinking about your mother. Sophia didn't bother hiding her attitude. She grabbed a fork and took a big bite. I stood still, watching each reaction carefully. Just seconds later, Sophia froze. Her face twisted, and she spat the bite out onto her plate, full of rage. What the hell is this? What's that awful smell? I pretended to be startled, my eyes wide as if I had no idea what was happening. I spoke with a clueless tone. It's ground beef and pork. I even mixed in some pâté for extra flavor. I bought it yesterday at the food store. The seller said it was a special kind. Right then, Margaret had just taken a bite. Her face turned pale, and she immediately threw up on the floor. Pâté? Cat pâté? You fed me cat pâté, you little brat? I stepped back, pretending to be frightened. I trembled slightly, my voice tightening as if on the verge of tears. Oh no, I didn't know. I didn't mean to. I just wanted to make something delicious for you and Sophia. I lowered my head, covered my face with both hands, and burst into sobs. I made sure my shoulders shook at the right rhythm, like someone truly regretful and panicked. I'm so clumsy. I really am useless. Margaret gritted her teeth, and Sophia cursed under her breath. But neither of them could do anything more. I knew the limits. I didn't insult anyone. I was just the pitiful daughter-in-law who messed up breakfast. And more importantly, I was the daughter-in-law they had once proudly taught to bow in gratitude, to sacrifice, to endure. I had begun, quietly, but just enough to plant a seed of lingering unease in their hearts. That afternoon, I walked into Sophia's room with a small basket in hand. Inside were fresh aloe vera leaves and a jar of premium Greek yogurt I had chosen carefully. I gave her a soft smile, trying to appear friendly. Sophia, I bought organic aloe and Greek yogurt today. Let's do a face mask together. It'll brighten our skin. It's been a while since we relaxed like this. Sophia had always been obsessed with skincare, and as soon as she heard that, her eyes lit up. She agreed without a hint of suspicion. That sounds great. I was planning on doing my skincare today anyway. I led her to the bathroom. The small space carried a faint scent of essential oils. I prepared the mask mixture with care. The yogurt and aloe were blended into a smooth paste, and I secretly added a touch of honey. As I stirred it, I kept smiling gently, as if everything was normal. When it was ready, I handed it to Sophia with a sweet tone. All set, just lie down and relax. I'll apply it for you. Sophia lay down on the mat in the bathroom, eyes closed. I gently spread the mask over her skin, my touch soft, almost like I truly cared. At the same time, I quietly sprinkled a thin line of white sugar around the edges of the mat. My eyes scanned the room once more to make sure everything was in place. 10 minutes passed in silence. Then suddenly, Sophia bolted upright and screamed, "Ants! There are ants everywhere! They're crawling all over me!" I acted shocked and rushed in, my eyes wide, one hand covering my mouth like I'd just made a terrible discovery. Oh no, I must have used too much honey. I thought more would be better. I'm so sorry. Let me get rid of them. I grabbed the plastic broom and started hitting Sophia. With each strike, I shouted, "Damn ants! Get off my sister-in-law! Don't you dare crawl on her!" Sophia cried out from the pain and scrambled to her feet. "Ow! You're hitting too hard!" I kept up the act, still pretending to be worried. "I have to hit hard so they'll run away. I didn't mean to hurt you." In the end, she was covered in red welts from the ant bites and a few more from my broom. But no one could blame me. I was just the caring sister-in-law trying to help. As I watched Sophia storm off in anger, a quiet satisfaction bloomed inside me. It was like striking the first note of my revenge symphony. That evening, just as the sky turned dark, I heard the front door creak open. David returned, reeking of alcohol. His heavy steps dragged the stench of liquor into the house. I was cleaning the living room when I heard the shatter of glass. I turned to see little Lucas standing frozen, a broken cup still in his hand. His face was filled with panic. David immediately pulled off his leather belt. His voice roared through the room. "You brat! I'll teach you a lesson." I didn't have time to think. I lunged forward, wrapping my arms tightly around Lucas. I screamed like a mother at the end of her rope. Don't hit him. He's just a child. Hit me instead." I held the boy close to my chest, but my eyes didn't meet David's in fear. I looked straight at him and whispered low enough for only him to hear. "Go ahead, hit him. If a single hair falls from his head, I'll slit your throat in your sleep. I'm sick anyway. If I kill you, I won't care about prison. Want to test me?" I saw his hand pause. The belt trembled slightly. He looked at me as if he was facing someone he no longer recognized. He was probably wondering if it was the alcohol, or if I had truly changed. I immediately raised my voice, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Please, honey, I beg you, don't hurt our son. He's your child." Then I whispered again. "Step back, right now, or tonight I'll cut your throat while you sleep." David took a step back. He still held the belt, but he no longer dared to raise it. His voice wavered. Fine, get out of my sight. Next time, I'll beat you to death." I cradled Lucas in my arms. I cried while trying to comfort him. "It's okay now, baby. Daddy won't hit you again." "Thank you, honey. You're so kind." I led Lucas into his room. Behind me, David stood motionless. Maybe this was the first time he had ever felt afraid of the fragile wife he once thought he could crush. That night, after all the lights in the house were off, I quietly stepped into Lucas's room. The boy was still awake. He lay with his back to the door, but when he heard it open, he turned to look at me. "Mom." I sat down beside his bed and gently pulled him into my arms. "No, it's Aunt Grace. I'm here to help your mom and you." Lucas's eyes lit up. He nodded. "I knew it. You'll teach Dad and Grandma a lesson." I nodded slowly, holding him close to my chest. "Yes. But it's our secret, all right? When I give the signal, you have to cry as loud as you can." Lucas nodded hard. "Got it. I'll do my best." I stroked his hair and kissed his forehead. That evening at dinner, I sat quietly at the head of the table. The room was heavy with silence. No one spoke to anyone. David chewed and breathed noisily, shooting me sideways glances like always. Margaret picked up slices of pizza with a sour look on her face, as if each bite offended her. Sophia buried her face in her phone, glancing up now and then like she was just waiting to pounce on something I did wrong. I stayed silent, nibbling at the piece of pizza in my hand. The cold cheese mixed with grease made me nauseous, but I kept eating. I needed that moment. A scene so normal that what was about to happen would feel all the more haunting. I started laughing. At first, it was just a quiet giggle, barely noticeable. But then the laughter grew louder, echoing through the small kitchen, distorted and drawn out like someone who had lost control. All eyes turned toward me. David slammed his fork on the table and snapped. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I stopped laughing. My eyes widened. I lifted my head, staring past him with an empty gaze. I saw a shadow. "It's sitting on your shoulder, David." It whispered to me. It said this house is about to face something terrible. The mood in the room shifted immediately. I saw Margaret freeze, her chopsticks trembling slightly. Sophia pulled her hand away from her phone and stared at me. Margaret stuttered. "What nonsense are you saying?" I turned my head slowly, as if moved by some invisible force. I stared straight at Sophia. My hand pointed at her. "And you? Don't look in the mirror at midnight. There's another face looking back at you. It looks just like you. But its eyes are pitch black, and it's crying." Sophia jumped up from her seat. Her face went pale. Her voice cracked. "Shut up! You're crazy!" I started laughing again. But this time, my voice was sharper, higher, shrill, like it was tearing through the air. Crazy. Maybe. But crazy people often see the things sane people can't. Do you know why you hear a child crying in the bathroom every night? It sounds like a kid being held underwater. I saw Margaret flinch. Her hands trembled violently. The spoon she was holding fell to the floor, and she didn't even bend down to pick it up. She stepped back, then screamed, "Shut your mouth!" I stood up and slowly walked toward her, my eyes devoid of emotion. Every step I took sent a chill down their spines. "Don't be afraid. It won't hurt you. Unless you keep doing wicked things," it told me. It said it drags cruel people down to hell. Margaret screamed. The chair crashed backward behind her. She stumbled until her back hit the wall. David shot to his feet. His voice thundered across the room, trying to regain control. I said, "Shut up." I turned my head toward him, my eyes sharp as blades, but my voice was calm and even. "You feel that, don't you, David? The shadow on your shoulder. It's tightening its grip around your neck. Can you breathe?" David's hand went to his throat instinctively. I saw his lips press together, his Adam's apple move as he swallowed hard. He was afraid. Then suddenly, I clapped my hands once, the sound dry and sharp, echoing through the room. All three of them flinched. My body went limp, head falling onto the table like a puppet whose strings had been cut. I stayed perfectly still. The kitchen fell silent. After a moment, I lifted my head. My eyes were blank. I touched my forehead, my voice soft, almost a whisper. "Oh, what happened to me just now? I feel so tired. Did I say something? I don't remember." I looked around, confused, as if I truly didn't understand what had happened. I picked up a slice of pizza, took a small bite, and frowned. "The pizza's a bit bland today. I'll get some chili sauce." I stood up and walked toward the kitchen while the three of them remained frozen in place. No one said a word. They only stared at one another, then at me, their faces pale, a mix of fear and disbelief. Once inside the kitchen, I turned my back to them, holding the bottle of chili sauce in one hand, a sly smile curling on my lips. I knew this little performance had planted a seed of fear in their minds, one that would haunt them for a long time. The longer, the better. My psychological game had entered a new chapter, and I was the one writing the script. That afternoon, the house was heavy with tension, thick enough to choke on. Outside, dark clouds gathered, signaling an approaching storm. From the small kitchen, I could hear the low murmurs of two voices I knew too well. Margaret's voice came first, filled with anger and venom. We can't live with that lunatic anymore. She's not Hope, she's a demon." Sophia replied, her tone lower but laced with unease. "But what do we do? If we hit her, she gets worse. When she talks, she plays dumb, acts crazy, and no one can catch her out." Margaret's voice dropped, but every word was cold as a knife. "Then, we make everyone see it. The neighbors, the relatives, let them witness it for themselves. Then, we call the police, or mental health services. They'll see the demon before she destroys this family." I stood behind the bedroom door, listening to every word, the corner of my lips lifting slightly. They were desperate now. And desperation is when people make mistakes. The next morning, voices stirred me awake. I cracked the door open and looked downstairs. Margaret had gathered a few neighbors and a relative from California. She held a stack of papers in her trembling hands, her face drawn with false sorrow, her eyes glistening with staged tears. I knew exactly what was about to happen. She was about to perform. Margaret began speaking with a trembling voice. "Everyone, please be my witness. My daughter-in-law, she's gone insane. She fed me cat pâté, she poured ants on Sophia, she babbles nonsense and threatens my entire family. I'm afraid she'll hurt us all." The room filled with murmurs. All eyes turned toward the staircase where I stood. I took a deep breath and stepped down slowly. I wore an old, faded dress, frayed and patched in several places. My hair was messy, my face bare, my skin pale. When I reached the center of the room, I lowered my head and spoke softly, my voice trembling. "Good afternoon, everyone. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law are right. I'm useless. I only wanted to cook good meals for her, to help Sophia feel beautiful. But I failed. I always ruin things." I sniffled lightly, wiping away tears. "I'm sorry. I know I'm sick, and maybe dying soon, so sometimes I ramble. I just want to spend the rest of my days near my husband and my son." The room fell silent. Margaret froze, unsure what to say. Then a man's voice rose from the back of the room. Mr. Johnson, the neighbor next door, stood up. "Margaret, stop it. Everyone here knows your family. Hope has always been kind and gentle. Look at her now, weak and ill. How could you make up such things about her?" Margaret's mouth hung open, but before she could reply, the relative from California spoke up. "He's right. I see a girl who deserves pity, not blame. This household, from David to you two women, never treated her right." The atmosphere shifted. I bowed my head low, letting tears stream down like a woman overcome with gratitude. Margaret and Sophia stood pale as chalk, their faces tight with humiliation. Rage burned in their eyes, but they couldn't speak. A few minutes later, they politely ushered everyone out, pretending to be tired. But I knew what brewed inside them. They were furious. They had failed. For the first time, the neighbors had seen through them, and they were the ones shamed. When everyone was gone, the house grew still again. I returned to my room and sat on the bed. The afternoon light slipped through the old curtain, touching the reflection of my face in the mirror. What I saw wasn't Hope. It wasn't the replacement. It was a woman alive through sheer will and vengeance. A sudden coughing fit bent me forward. I grabbed a tissue, and spots of blood stained the white paper. I knew my time was running out. I lifted my head, staring into the mirror. My voice was quiet but firm. "It's time. I don't have much left. The ending must be unforgettable." I picked up my phone, opened the camera, and set it between the books on the shelf, aimed toward the living room. My finger moved slowly, turning on the live stream. Not public, only sent privately to a few of Hope's friends, the ones who had witnessed her broken marriage. Everyone, bear witness. I looked straight into the camera. My eyes were calm, but deep within them burned a raging fire. The fire of someone about to strike the final blow. I stepped out of the room, my body weak, but my gaze sharper than ever. In the living room, all three of them sat in silence. David was drinking beer, his hands trembling, his eyes heavy with defeat. Margaret was whispering to Sophia, both of them wearing the same bitter expression of people who had just suffered a humiliating loss. I knew this was the perfect moment. I walked to the center of the room, stood tall, and spoke slowly, my voice cold and clear. David, I just came back from the bank. I withdrew the $50,000 from your savings account. I gave it all to my sister Grace for her medical treatment. David shot up from his chair. His face turned red, veins bulging on his neck. What did you say? You did what? I turned toward him, meeting his eyes with a calm, almost eerie smile. I didn't answer. Instead, I tilted my head slightly toward Sophia, my voice cutting through the air like ice. And you! I already posted every photo of you stealing my money and jewelry on Facebook and Instagram. The whole world now knows you're a thief. Sophia screamed, her voice cracking like shattered glass. I'll kill you. I didn't move. I turned my gaze to Margaret. My tone dropped, quiet but sharp, each word landing with the weight of steel. And you wicked old woman. You thought I wouldn't notice the bottle of bleach you were planning to mix into Lucas's milk so he'd stop crying. I switched it with water. In that instant, the room exploded. Margaret screamed, her voice shrill and furious. You lying witch! You dare accuse me! David roared, his eyes blazing red. I'll kill you! I stood still, watching the three of them charge toward me like wild beasts cornered by their own guilt. David reached me first, grabbing my hair, yanking hard, forcing me down onto the floor. Margaret lunged in, her foot slamming into my stomach and chest again and again. Sophia, her face twisted in rage, clawed at me, pulling my hair, striking wildly like a person consumed by madness. Their screams filled my ears, blending together in a frenzy of hatred. You think you're better than us? You filthy creature, die! You crazy bitch! You should die! I curled up, not fighting back. I felt every kick, every slap, every fingernail tearing into my skin. The pain blurred my vision, but I waited. I needed them to lose control completely, to drown in their own fury. When the chaos reached its peak, I arched my back and summoned every last ounce of strength. A metallic taste filled my mouth. A burst of hot blood surged up my throat, splattering across David's face, staining Margaret's clothes and the carpet beneath us. The red spread quickly, like a flame devouring the room. I forced my eyes open and looked at them. My voice came out weak, broken. Help me. Then my hands went limp. My body collapsed onto the floor, my head tilted to the side. I lay still in the spreading pool of blood. No one screamed anymore. The three of them stood frozen, breath heavy and shallow. David's face was rigid, his hand still clenching my hair, too stunned to release. Margaret stepped back, eyes blank. Sophia looked down at her trembling hands, still stained with dark red blood. They suddenly realized they were standing in the middle of a horrifying scene from which there was no turning back. I heard sirens in the distance, an ambulance, police cars, then voices outside the door. It all crashed into the house like a violent wave. The door burst open. Neighbors poured in, followed by several police officers. Mr. Johnson pointed, his voice hoarse with fury. Officers, look at this. They beat her nearly to death. I and many others watched the live stream from beginning to end. The aunt rushed in, her face flushed red, her voice thick with rage. Savages, beating a dying woman. Officers, arrest them. Police stepped forward, quickly restraining David, Margaret, and Sophia. They struggled, shouting out desperate excuses. It wasn't us. She threw up blood herself. She's sick. She just coughed it up. We're the victims here. But no one listened. Everything had been recorded. The scene, the screams, the curses, the blood on the floor. All of it was captured in the live stream they never knew was running. The paramedics lifted me onto the stretcher. My eyes fluttered open just enough to see David and his mother being cuffed, their faces pale like ash. They looked terrified, stunned, their mouths still mumbling words no one would ever believe. The ambulance doors closed. Sirens rose. I closed my eyes and let my body be carried away. In that moment, I knew it was over. The final act had ended. And this time, those who once laughed at the pain of others would taste every drop of it in return. I lay in the hospital bed, my body so weak it felt like only a breath held me together. The heart monitor beeped faintly beside my ear. IV lines ran across both arms, every breath stabbed at my chest. Yet my eyes stayed calm when I saw the three of them enter the room. David walked in first, jaw clenched, face twisted with anger. Margaret followed, clutching her handbag tightly, her eyes flicking around nervously. Sophia trailed behind, pale and shaken. Behind them stood a police officer and a sharply dressed man in a suit, my attorney. No one spoke. The silence was so thick, the ticking clock on the wall sounded louder than ever. The lawyer was the first to speak. The live stream footage is very clear. Even with her pre-existing condition, the footage showing the three of you using physical violence is undeniable. The charges for aggravated assault and domestic abuse could carry a sentence of 5 to 10 years in prison. Margaret's face changed. Her voice trembled, but she still tried to justify herself. But I cut in. My voice was weak, but clear enough for everyone to hear. I have a proposal. All eyes turned to me. I slowly lifted my head and looked directly at David. First, David will sign the divorce papers immediately. I will have full custody of Lucas. Second, your family will pay $500,000 in compensation to me and my son as starting capital for our future. Third, the three of you will disappear from my life forever. You are not allowed within 100 miles of me. David clenched his fists. The veins on his wrists bulged. He growled, $500,000? Are you insane? I turned to the police officer, a small smirk at the corner of my lips, then looked back at all three of them. Then let the law handle it. I'm ready to go to court. But I wonder, is your family's dignity, legal record, and freedom worth less than $500,000? Margaret turned pale. She clutched David's arm and whispered hurriedly into his ear. Just agree, son. If we go to prison, we'll lose everything. Careers, reputation. I still have some retirement savings and stocks. We can manage. Sophia whimpered beside them. I don't want a criminal record. I've never been arrested. I'm scared. David said nothing. He lowered his head, grinding his teeth. After a moment, 2 words escaped his mouth. I agree. A few minutes later, everything was done. I saw the police officer sign the confirmation and leave with my attorney. The room fell silent. No one wanted to speak another word. Just then, the door opened. Hope stepped inside. She wore a white blouse and a long gray skirt. Her hair was tied neatly. Her face was thinner, but her eyes were clear. Lucas ran to me and threw his arms around me tightly. Aunt Grace, did it hurt? I stroked his hair and smiled gently. I'm all right. The three of them stood frozen. David frowned, looking from me to my sister, then back again. Who are you? Hope walked forward and stood beside me. She looked at them calmly, her voice steady and firm. "I'm Hope, I'm your wife, and the woman lying here is my sister. This is Grace." The air in the room turned to ice. The truth landed like a stone. Margaret staggered, her mouth trembling. "So you tricked us?" I answered softly, my voice low and cold. "Not exactly. The abuse was real. The bruises on my sister's body were real. The boy's fear was real. I just pushed it to the edge and made you taste exactly what she went through." David looked like he wanted to lunge forward, but the officer stepped in to stop him. "That's enough. Everything is clear. You will be under supervision and legally restricted. Sign the papers and leave immediately." A few days later, I lay resting on the sofa in the small apartment my sister and I had just rented. Morning light filtered through the window, casting warmth on the white walls where new photographs had been pinned. Hope was arranging books, and Lucas sat in the corner, organizing his toys. Hope came to my side, sat down, and held my hand. Her voice broke. "You're insane. How could you take such a risk?" I smiled and replied gently, because I had nothing left to lose, but I had too much to protect. You, the boy. Lucas ran over and wrapped his arms around both me and his mother. "I have Mommy and Auntie now. I'm not afraid anymore." The door opened. The lawyer stepped inside, handing Hope a folder. "The $500,000 has been transferred. The divorce and the restraining order are now legally enforced. You and your son are free." Hope took the papers. Her eyes brimmed with tears. She looked at me, speechless. "Thank you. It was all because of you." I gently squeezed her hand and nodded. "No, it's because we never gave up on each other. Now go live happily, for both of us." We embraced. Lucas wrapped his arms around both of us. In that room, there were no more screams, no more fear, no more pain. Only the sound of kinship and a new beginning. Hello, everyone. I'm Hope. From here on, I will be the one telling the story. Because Grace, my sister, the one who gave up everything to save me and my son, passed away 2 months ago. That autumn afternoon, a light breeze rustled the golden leaves, letting them fall gently along the narrow path of the cemetery. I held Lucas's hand as we walked slowly past rows of headstones, my chest tightening with every step toward the place I now knew too well. In front of us was a simple gray granite stone, quiet and unadorned. Each time I saw the engraving on it, my heart ached like it was only yesterday. Lucas gently laid down a bouquet of white chrysanthemums. He stood silently for a while, then his voice came, soft and small. "Aunt Grace, we came to visit you again. I miss you so much." I knelt beside him and wiped the dust off the stone. My tears fell, one by one, onto the cold surface. I couldn't hold back as I whispered, "My little sister, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't strong enough, so you had to carry it all alone." Lucas looked up, his eyes red. "Mom, why did Aunt Grace have to go so far away? We only lived together for 2 months. I pulled him into my arms, holding him close with trembling hands, because she used every last bit of her strength to protect us. Her love for us was stronger than her fear of death. I closed my eyes. In my mind, images from 1 month earlier came rushing back. The final days I still had her by my side. I entered the room and saw Grace lying on the small bed by the window. Her skin was pale, as if it would dissolve into the fading afternoon light. She breathed heavily, each inhale strained, but still managed to smile when she saw me. "You're here?" I rushed to her side and took her hand, feeling the cold creeping into her fingers. "What do you need? Are you in pain?" Grace shook her head slightly. Her voice was weak, but clear. "No, I just want to tell you. Use that money to open a small tailor shop, just like the dream you used to have, and make sure Lucas gets a good education. Live the peaceful life you always wanted." I broke down in tears. I couldn't keep my promise not to cry. "Don't say that. You'll get better. We'll run the shop together. I can't do anything without you." Grace smiled. Her eyes no longer showed pain, only peace. "Don't cry. I don't regret anything. Those 2 months living with you and the boy were more than enough for me." I looked over to the corner of the room. Lucas was sitting there doing his homework, focused on his pencil. Grace followed my gaze, then spoke again, her voice slower this time. "Lucas, when you grow up, be a good man. Protect those who cannot protect themselves. Never be like your father." Lucas heard her and ran to the bedside. He hugged Grace tightly, pressing his face to her hand. "I promise, Auntie, I'll study hard. I'll take good care of Mom. You don't have to worry about me, okay?" My sister smiled as her eyes gently closed. In that moment, I saw the entirety of Grace's life. A life short in years, but full of strength and love. And I knew, even though she was no longer here, the bond she left behind would always be the warm light guiding me and my son forward. I opened my eyes. The autumn wind was still blowing, and the leaves still fell. But within me, something had quietly begun to heal. That night, the small room was lit only by a dim bedside lamp, casting a soft glow on Grace's face. She lay still, breathing so gently it was as if she feared waking the whole world. I sat beside her, holding her hand, listening only to the slow drip of the IV. Suddenly, Grace's finger twitched. She whispered my name so faintly I had to lean in close to hear. "Hope, promise me something. Promise me you'll live happily. Don't let the pain of the past weigh you down anymore. I don't want to see you punishing yourself." I gripped her hand tighter, feeling the warmth slowly slipping away. My tears fell onto the back of her thin, trembling hand. I promise you." Grace gave a faint nod. Her eyes closed and opened again, this time with a flicker of fragile light. She whispered one more thing. "And tell Lucas that in this life, family is the most precious thing. He must learn to cherish and protect it. Unlike us, who had to pay such a painful price to understand that." I leaned down and kissed her forehead. She said no more. The next morning, when I woke up, Grace was gone. She left this world quietly in her sleep, with a gentle smile on her lips. Peaceful. Still, as if she'd finally found a place to rest. I did not scream. I simply held her, whispering my thanks. For love, for sacrifice, for courage. 1 month later, Lucas and I returned to the cemetery. The crisp morning air of early autumn left a sting on my cheeks. We stood silently before Grace's grave. Lucas still held to his habit of bringing white chrysanthemums. He never forgot. "Let's go home, son." I spoke softly as I reached for his hand. Lucas looked up at me, his eyes shimmering but steady. "Mom, I'll never forget Aunt Grace." I nodded. I knew he meant it, and I answered with all my heart. "No, we will never forget, and we will live well, so we won't let her sacrifice be in vain." I looked up at the clear blue sky. A few white clouds drifted slowly in the distance. In my heart rose a quiet but earnest prayer of gratitude. "Grace, thank you. Because of you, I understand now. Family is not a burden. It is strength. It is the place we return to. It is the reason we fight. And sometimes, it is the only thing that remains when everything else is gone." Lucas squeezed my hand tighter. I bent down and heard his small voice, soft but certain. "Mom, I love you, and I love Aunt Grace so much." I wrapped my arms around him, and together we walked away, our shadows stretching long across the sunlit path. The loss still lived within us, but a new strength had begun to form. This is where the story ends, but its echo will remain in all of us. This was not just a family tragedy. It was a tribute, a tale of love, sacrifice, and courage. Grace chose the hardest path to set her sister and nephew free. And in doing so, she lit the way for a new life where justice could be found and love could become the reason to go on. If you are hearing these words, I hope you take a moment to look at your family with a warmer heart. Love them while you can. Stand up when someone is being hurt. And remember, sometimes a single act of love can change an entire life. If this story touched your heart, please leave a comment to share your thoughts. Click like on the video, and don't forget to subscribe to Revenge Diary so we can continue this journey of telling stories of tears, of justice, and of those who dared to rise in the face of darkness. Thank you for listening.